So I'll mention these qualities again then. So intentionality, having an intention, setting the direction of your mind at the beginning of a meditation. And it can be really helpful to return to if your mind wanders. Yeah, actually, this is what I decided to do. And then there's mindfulness, of course. We're going to practice mindfulness today. And then clearly knowing. So mindfulness and clearly knowing are sort of partner qualities. They partner each other really well. So mindfulness has the qualities of memory, self-remembering, presence, present moment attention, and clearly knowing is, it's like having just this, the knowing how things are, knowing the sensations, knowing whether it's an in-breath or an out-breath, knowing what the mind is doing. Is the mind present? Is it wandering? So it kind of keeps an eye on. So you might, one minute you might know that you're being mindful, and the next moment you realize that your mind has wandered. So the knowing is also what helps you notice if you're not doing what you set out to do. And then there's diligence, diligence, D-I-L-I-G-E-N-C-E, which is about staying, really attending very thoroughly. It's a thoroughness that we can bring to the meditation. So with those four qualities, it can feel like there's a lot to do. And some of them sound like they require a lot of effort, to be diligent and to really know and to be present and mindful and to really know your intention. But actually, all of these qualities work better if we bring in the fifth quality, which is being relaxed. So what's good is to work very, very hard on being very, very relaxed. That's something I like to say quite often. So I'll talk us into doing some mindfulness of breathing. And today I might introduce just a device that is used in quite a lot of formal practices of mindfulness of breathing, which is counting the breath. So at a certain point, I'll just say, particularly notice the end of the out breath and maybe start counting at the end of each breath and just see how that goes. One count per breath. And to keep it simple, if you get 10 to 10, go back to 1. If you get to 10, go back to 1. If your mind wanders, go back to 1. It's and we can also shift the count at the beginning of the in-breath as well, just to add an element of anticipation after that. So that's the plan for today. But first, let's set our posture up how we would like to be and start to tune in. So this is where we start to cultivate the knowing, the clearly knowing how the body is, how the mind is, what kind of impressions are coming through all of the 6 senses. So our intention, first of all, is to be present to sensation. And through the knowing of sensation, we can check that the spine is comfortable. If you're sitting upright, that the spine is easily upright, that we're not having to use a lot of effort. That the shoulders are not too far back, not too far forward. And the hands resting somewhere where they won't distort the posture that you've chosen. Morning, Jada. We're just getting started on some body scan. In particular, you might like to check that the sitting bones are balanced in a way that's comfortable. A sense of being on top of the sitting bones. And it can be helpful sometimes to just tilt the tail 1 millimeter forwards, 1 millimeter backwards, just to move the pelvis a little bit, and just to check that, if you move the tail one way, is the spine more comfortable there? Is it more comfortable where you were sitting? Is it more comfortable the other way? You can just check. And if the pelvis is settled, then it's much easier to relax the legs, allowing the hips to soften. It's good if the legs are not supporting the body directly, rather they are helping maintain a balance. For sure, there is weight on the legs. The legs are heavy themselves, but we're not trying to support the whole body with the legs. The pelvis is doing that. And how is the contact with the floor? What kind of contact with the floor? Maybe feet, shins, calves, soles of feet or tops of feet. Just knowing clearly for oneself. Clearly knowing what's happening with the feet. The sensations of soles of feet. Perhaps the texture of socks or the temperature of air. Sensations of toes touching each other. Tops of the feet. Heels. Ankles. How are the ankles? Just being clear about what the ankles are in contact with. Perhaps it's the floor, perhaps it's socks, leggings, air. Shins, calves, tibia, fibula. Are the calf muscles at ease? Are they comfortable? Are the shins comfortable? What kind of sensations can be known in the lower legs and feet? And how are the knees? How deep is the fold of the knee right now? Soft fold. And the kneecap, the patella. Is there a sense that the leg is holding the kneecap on? Or can the kneecap relax a little and just drop a little on the leg? And from the knees, following the bottom of the thigh bone upwards, all the way deep into the hip sockets, right into the core of the pelvis, with the head of the femur, with the hip. That's on the inside. On the outside edge of the thigh bone, you can feel the outer hip that you compress on the outside of the pelvis. And then there are thighs, thigh muscles, quads, hamstring muscles, a whole heap of ligaments and tendons and nerves and blood vessels. Sense of aliveness in the whole legs. How's the pelvis? You have a sense of the hip, but how is the bowl of the pelvis? Sitting bones, pubic bone, tailbone, sacroiliac, iliac crests, forming the bowl shape. The space between the sitting bones, the pelvic floor. So you have the whole lower body in our attention. Checking your intention to stay present to this world of sensation and feeling in the lower body. Check that mindfulness is still here. Clear knowing is still here. Diligence, thoroughness is still here. And relaxation. Let's relax and breathe with it all. So we can scan upwards from the tailbone, through the spine, through the sacral spine, into the lumbar spine. Big, chunky vertebra. Big spine. Into the thoracic spine. With the ribs extending on the sides of the ribs, on the sides of the spine. Carving around, meeting at the sternum. And the spine continues into the neck, into the base of the skull. So there's the bones of the torso. And then there's the flesh, the muscles, the organs, the fluids, the fibers. Particularly in the soft tissue of the torso, the belly, the chest, even the throat. There's a lot of feeling, a lot of sensation. It's a good way to quickly check your emotions. What's going on in the soft tissue of the torso? It's felt senses, feeling, gut feelings that maybe you don't have words attached to them yet. You can just let them be. And then there's muscles, the spine, surrounded by muscle, big back muscles, psoas muscles on the front of the spine, stomach muscles, shoulder muscles. And the torso is moving all of the time. While the breath is happening, the torso is moving. Maybe a small amount, maybe a lot. Just let it be what it is. Just noting that there are sensations that are caused by breathing. Movement of the belly, the movement of the chest, perhaps the gentle stroking of clothing against skin as the belly moves with the breath. Shoulders, shoulder blades, collarbone, and the ball and socket joint that leads to the arms, armpits, upper arm, elbows, forearms, wrists, clearly knowing the sensations, knowing tension, relaxation, knowing comfort, discomfort, knowing texture, clothing, temperature of the air, wrists and hands very sensitive, skin on the hands. Oh, it's a lot of information. Let that all be there. Mindful, clear knowing, diligent, relaxed, with a clear intention to stay present in a relaxed way. And coming up the neck and throat into the head, the skull, bones of the skull, the joints of the jaw, the teeth settling in the mouth, the bones of the inner ear. And the skin of the face, the flesh, scalp, the hair. Is it possible to know the weight of the hair on the scalp? How heavy is the hair? How heavy are the eyes resting in the sockets? Or the tongue in the mouth resting? Allowing the face to soften. No need for the face to hold an expression right now. Is it possible to have a felt sense of the whole body at once? The whole body breathing, being breathed, supported by the earth. The earth is breathing you. And staying mindful of the whole body, clearly knowing the whole body with a relaxed, clear attention. We let the breath become the most important thing. We bring the breath, the sensations caused by breathing, to the foreground of attention. Knowing how it is to breathe in, knowing how it is to breathe out, knowing the difference in sensations and feeling. And let's help stabilize the mind a little further. We're just going to add some counting at the end of the out breath. So start by just being particularly aware, particularly notice that moment where the out breath ends. It stops, there's a short pause, the in breath begins. So really get to know the end of the out breath. There's a really kind of soft, gentle place where the out breath just comes to an end. Before the in breath begins. So we're just going to count, breathing in, breathing out in your own time. Breathing in, breathing out. 2. Just keep going on. 3, 4, 5. If you get to 10, go back to 1. If your mind wanders, go back to 1. Keep the count short and quiet. What's the shortest, quietest, smallest count that can be made at the end of the out breath? Every time the mind wanders, go back to 1. So in a very relaxed way, being diligent, being clearly knowing what the next number is, mindful of the breath. So it's mindfulness of the breath, not mindfulness accounting. The counting is just an aid. If the counting isn't annoying, if you don't like the counting, just stop doing the counting. And instead, just mark the out breath in your mind in some way. The end of the out breath is there, and so on. You just get a little bit more clarity, a little bit more precision with the attention. And then you might like to move on to switching the count to the, the place that we're noticing, moving that to the beginning of the in-breath. So it's in kind of more or less the same place, but we just add an element of anticipation. We anticipate the breath coming, breathe out, it's turning around. Here comes the in-breath, 1. Breathing in, breathing out. Waiting for the beginning of the in-breath, 2. Breathing in, breathing out. If you get to 10, go back to 1. If you never get past 3, go back to 1. Mind wanders, go back to 1. If you never get past 3, don't worry. It just shows that you're noticing the mind has wandered quite quickly. Anytime the mind has wandered off, patiently, persistently. Persistence is another word for diligence. Persistently coming back and enjoying the breath. So maybe let go of the counting sometime soon, unless you're finding it really helpful. If you find the counting helpful, then keep doing it if you wish. Otherwise, just let the counting fade and simply be with the breath. Enjoy the breath. Enjoy the process of attending to the breath, the process of meditation. That process is inherently satisfying to the mind. Attending to the whole of the in-breath, the whole of the out-breath. Enjoying the sensations. Enjoying the calmer state of the mind. And if the mind is not calm, simply be patient with that. Sometimes it takes a little more time. diligent, clearly knowing, and mindful. Patiently letting go of anything else that you don't need to be doing right now. Being sensitive to the sensations of the body helps keep the body calm. Sensation to sensitive to pleasurable sensations, calming sensations, sensitive to pleasurable states in the mind, in the heart. If the mind gets a little busy, it might be helpful to try counting breath again for a little while and then let it go. How is the breath? Where is the breath happening? Enjoying whatever is pleasurable in the body, heart, mind. Having patience for whatever is uncomfortable or difficult. Anytime the mind wanders, it's active, it's doing something. So simply relaxing into the open space of mind can be a good strategy. Relaxing into the open space of clearly knowing. Clearly knowing, mindful, diligent and relaxed. And if the mind is a little bit more steady, we can refine what we're attending to. So you might like to particularly notice the sensations where the breath first enters and last leaves the body. So probably just inside the nostril, above the lip, somewhere around there. It's very delicate, very subtle sensation. If you feel able, bring that to the foreground of attention. Make that the task. There's clarity and precision needed. So bring that to this last stage. Along with mindfulness and clear knowing, diligence and relaxation, clarity and precision. Just know that attending to the subtle sensations works with a quite subtle state of mind. So it can tend to drift a little bit if you're not careful. So just be sensitive to that. See if it's possible to stay enjoying the subtle sensations of the breath as it enters the nostrils, as it leaves the nostrils. And then see if it's possible to let go of attending to the end of the nose, but still be mindful and clearly knowing what is happening in experience, so the whole of experience, sensations, sight, sound, smell, taste, thinking, feeling, this whole universe of experience. It's just sitting here. Just see if it's possible to sit quietly with it all, experiencing it all, mindfully, knowing it all clearly, in a very relaxed way, and staying with it, staying with the open space of mind. No need to have a focus. You can focus on whatever is arising in experience in each moment. It's one step more subtle. Is resting in the open space of mind. With whatever experience is arising now, whether it be sensation or feeling or sound, just let it all be as it is. So we're going to start closing the meditation in a minute or so. Does that information change anything in the heart and mind? So when you're ready, letting go of any effort that might still be happening. Just rest. No need to do anything. No need to be anybody. And gradually bringing yourself out of the meditation and back into the room.